Good evening. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining Respus Live. Good evening. Happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday. We're so glad to have you be a part of Respus Live on tonight. I am super excited about our guests on tonight. As always, we have special guests. All the guests are special. So please start a watch party. Go ahead and share this video. I promise you, you will not regret it at all. Again, we ask that you start a watch party and share this video on tonight. And again, thank you so much for joining us on tonight for Respus Live. If you would please go ahead and start your watch party. And if someone will hashtag our subject for tonight, it is hashtag no limits. If someone can hashtag no limits, we're going to talk about no limits on tonight. Again, if you would just go ahead and get your friends and your girlfriends and your guy friends and just have them watch the show tonight. We have attorney Gregory Williams with us, and we have some good information that we need to hear. If you want to share anything on Facebook, tonight is a night to share information that will bring generational wealth and that will help us as we move through this journey called life. So again, just start your watch party and tag someone so they can go ahead and start joining us early. Again, it's no limits. If we can get somebody to hashtag no limits for us on tonight. Now, there are limits in everything that we do. For example, when we're driving down the street, there's a speed limit, and we are supposed to stay within the speed limit. And when we go to the bank or the teller machine, we put our debit cards in, and there's only a certain amount of money, of our own money, that we can get out at a time. So there's a limit on how much we can receive from a teller machine. And if you have those little coupons, if you're a couponer and you go to the store, they put a limit on how many items you can pick during the special, because they don't want you to get but so many. So there are so many limits in our lives. There are limits in what we can buy, how fast we can go. There are limits on how much PTO we have on our jobs. There are limits on how many sick days. So there's so many limits in every area of our life. But tonight we want you to take the limits off, because there are no limits when it comes to your dreams. There are no limits when it comes to your goals and your aspirations and your visions. There are no limits. Don't you allow someone to set a limit for you. Don't you allow someone to tell you what you can and cannot do. There are no limits to your success, what you want to do, what you have, the dreams that you have. Don't allow anybody to put you in a box. For so long, people have tried to place me in a box and place you in a box. We don't belong in a box, because boxes have limits. They have sides, and you got to stay within, like coloring when you were little and you'd color. You had to stay within the lines. There are no limits to what you can do and your success. And our guest tonight is a prime example of how there are no limits to what you can do. He will share his story, and we will be able to see that I don't care where you start, but it's how you finish. And there are no limits in what you can do, your goals, your dreams, your visions, your aspirations. Don't you let anyone tell you that you can't do anything, because with Christ, all things are possible. And we have tonight, we're breaking the limits. We're destroying the limits off of everything anybody has ever told you that you can't do. There are no limits, and yes, you can. So again, we thank you for coming, and don't you allow anyone to put you in a box. So tonight, our guest is Gregory Williams, and he is the owner of the law offices of Gregory R. Williams. And before I get started, I have to say this. Gregory's grandmother and my grandmother were first cousin. They were two sisters' children. And so we're actually family. And so it's so good to have family in the house tonight. So Respus Live, we want to welcome attorney Gregory Williams. It does my heart so much good, Greg, when I cross that bridge going home from work and I look at that advertisement sign and there's a picture of my cousin up there. It is so refreshing to see a young African-American male from Bolivia, North Carolina. Can anything good come out of Bolivia? You got that right. Y'all looking at it tonight. My cousin, yes, there is something good that can come out of Bolivia, the Burgall, Wilmington, Raleigh, wherever you are. Don't you allow anyone to set any limits for you, because on tonight we will talk with our guests, and we will let you know that there are no limits in what you can do. So, Greg, introduce yourself to all of our viewers on tonight.
Well, first of all, I feel like I need to get up and do something.
Go ahead, over.
I have been motivated and inspired.
Yes.
Yes. But as you said, I'm Gregory Renard Williams, attorney at law, Mamie's grandson.
Yes.
Dale's son.
Yes.
But as you stated, grew up in the country here. So
Yes.
it's great to be home tonight.
It is. And thank you so much for coming all the way down here to be on Respus Live. I really appreciate it because your office is where? Can you give us the location of your office?
Yeah, my office is in Durham, North Carolina. So, but again, any reason to come home is always a good reason. And I see you. You're blowing up. You're doing big things. And Gail King just created a lane for you. So I figured I would catch you before you got too big.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and take Gail's position. Okay, thank you. But
No limit.
there are no limits, exactly. And so I'm so excited about your story because I remember years ago you came to the house and you were selling life insurance, and so you
Right.
set, and I still have that policy now for my daughter. You set us up to make sure that we would be taken care of. God forbid if anything happens. So let's start off with your journey. I like when you went to college, what your goals were, and if they changed, what happened in the transition, so we can let people know that it didn't start off as attorney, but
Right.
that's where
Right.
you are today.
Absolutely. So as a young child, I always wanted to be an attorney. If I couldn't be a professional basketball player,
Oh, okay.
so that was, of course, my initial dream. My work dream was to be an attorney.
Okay.
Um, got to college,
Mhm.
didn't like schoolwork so much.
Okay. What college?
UNC Greensboro. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Shout out
Uh,
UNC Greensboro.
Spartan Pride.
Yes.
Went there, played basketball for 4 years, and we're doing big things at UNCG right now.
Yes.
So, but while I was there, college work didn't come as easy as high school.
Mm.
So I was like, I don't know if I can matriculate straight through and go to law school. As a matter of fact, when I graduated from undergrad, I was like, if I had one more semester to go, I don't know if I would have made it. It was, my grades were fine. It was just being burnt out on doing schoolwork.
I understand.
And I think I did almost every job imaginable to not do what I was supposed to be doing
Huh.
in pursuing the law. I sold cars, I delivered pizza, I did cold calls, and I kept doing things kind of inching closer to where I ultimately ended up. And as you mentioned, and I was there at your house selling a life insurance policy. That got me as close as I could get to being an attorney without actually being an attorney.
Right.
I had a practice, I had clients. I had a degree of confidentiality with my clients, things of that nature. And I was protecting their financial futures through our planning. But ultimately, all roads kind of ended up leading me to being an attorney. It's a funny story. I went to North Carolina Central University.
Okay. Shout out.
Right. Well, yeah, I didn't even got to that part yet, but yeah. So I went there for an appointment with a professor, and at the end of the appointment, it was an insurance appointment. At the end of the appointment, I asked him for some referrals, and he gave me, several names. And one of the names, I didn't recognize the name, but when I got there, I was like, wait a minute, I know you. And he was like, yeah, I know you. So we start talking, and he was like, well, let me take you on a tour of the law school. So he takes me on a tour, and I'm like, man, this is dope.
Wow.
I love this. So then we get back to his office. Shout out to Greg Clinton, dream maker. He says, you ever thought about going to law school?
Wow.
And this was the first conversation I had about law school in probably 15 years. And I was like, well, yeah, since I was a kid.
Right.
So we started talking about the different programs. Now, Central had a night program where you could work during the day and then go to law school at night. It takes 4 years. And I was like, eh. So we kept talking. He said, well, or you could just, go all in. I was like, man, I don't know if I can do that. I was selling insurance. I was refereeing basketball at the time. So long story short, I took the steps to kind of take the LSAT. And I mentioned I was refereeing basketball at the time. I did a tryout for the NBA D League, the developmental league, that spring before I started law school. And then I got picked to go to work summer league, which is the NBA summer league that everybody goes crazy over in July. So I went to that, and I was like, well, I'm going to go. I'm probably not going to make it because I'm starting law school, and I'll just go to law school and everything will be fine. So I ended up going to the tryout, and then the first week of law school, during all of the orientation meetings, they're kind of telling you, you can't work. You can't do anything with law school.
Wow.
You can't work, you can't do anything. If you work, you're going to fail. So I'm like, they drill this into you for like a solid 2 weeks. Into that 2 week period, I get a phone call. We want you to come referee in the D League.
Wow.
And I'm like, how am I going to do this?
Exactly.
But I just stepped out on faith,
Mm-hmm.
and I was able to navigate that field of refereeing, traveling all over the country, being gone 3 or 4 days a week during law school.
Wow.
Which is insane.
It is.
But that was the path that God laid out for me, because
Mm-hmm.
if the D League had not come along, I could not, there's no way I could have taken care of my daughter and
Yes.
myself and, got into a position. And God opened that door to get me through law school.
Mm-hmm.
And he closed it the day I forgot my results that I passed the bar.
Wow.
So,
So how old were you when you started law school?
why we got to talk about age?
The reason why I asked that
there was a 15-year
good
gap between
undergrad
and law school.
So the reason why I asked that is because your path was different, because some people go straight from undergrad right into law school.
Hats off to them.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it.
So you had to realize at some point that there were no limits, because you were able to do both at the same time. Whereas they were telling you, okay, this is insane. You need to concentrate specifically on law school. But you was like, nah, I'm going to do both.
Right.
So there was something in you that knew that there were no limits, and you didn't allow them to set the limits for you. You paved your own path. And so again, tonight we want to hashtag no limits, because some people will put limits on us, and they'll tell us what we can and cannot do. They told you that you couldn't do it, and you needed to stay focused on law school, and you told them that you could.
Right. And I graduated with honors.
See what I'm saying? So yeah. There's no limits. And thank you so much for sharing that story and the time frame. So you may not be on the road that you want to be on tonight. You may not be where you want to be, but don't you give up. Don't you allow where you are to dictate where you're going. It is imperative, it's important that you understand that there are no limits. So you may be selling insurance right now, but if your dream and goal and aspiration is to be a lawyer, you keep moving forward into that realm, because again, there are no limits, and you can do it. And you're an example for so many of us, Greg, that we can do what we set our minds to. It may not be easy. It may not be the path that we want. There are going to be some hard times and some disappointments, but if we stay focused and we stay on that path, we will succeed. So when you've passed the bar, tell me what happened next.
So passed the bar, and I started a law firm.
It's okay. Wait a minute.
Again, it's about perception
Yes.
of what, there's a quote that says, what the mind of man can conceive and believe it can achieve.
I like that.
And, when I played in football at South Brunswick, shout out to the Cougars.
Yes.
We had a coach come in my senior year, and, he was a big visual guy. And he said, he made us stand on the football field and do a 360, just kind of turn around in a circle. And he was like, guys, your mind just recorded over 1 million different items.
Wow.
Different things. And if I asked you to point out one particular thing, you can do that. He said, guys, there ain't a computer in the world can do that. That's the power of I believe. So he talked about the power of positive thinking. The Bible talks about faith,
yes,
size of a mustard seed.
Yes.
You can do all things. And that's because faith and fear and doubt can't encompass the same position. They can't coexist.
Exactly.
So if you're operating in faith, then there's no doubt. You're kind of walking forward, and you're finding a way to get it done,
yes,
whatever it is. So again, people were like, well, if you're going to start a law firm, you need 6 months of living expenses. It's like, I have 6 months of living expenses. I got a dream,
right,
and faith.
Yes.
So I stepped out. And
so they were putting limits on you again.
Absolutely.
You needed 6 months of living expenses before you start your own business.
Right.
And again, you had no limits, because you understood, and we have to understand with faith, there are no limits when it comes to faith.
Right.
None whatsoever. So they were going to put more stipulations on you, telling you can't do this because you need 6 months.
Right. And if you don't have that, then you can't take the next step. I think anything great that's ever done is done by someone believing more than what they can see.
One of my favorite hashtags, and the Lord gave it to me, is hashtag you have to see it before you see it.
Right.
And I think I may have been dreaming and I woke up with that in my spirit. And we have to see it before we see it physically or with our naked eye. It may not be tangible at this moment, but if we can have our goals and visions and dreams, and if we can see it from a biblical perspective, from a spiritual perspective, if we can look into the future with our positive mindset and then just work toward it, we can do it. So you straight out of law school and start your own firm.
Yes. Yeah. It wasn't easy.
I love this story. I love it.
I leaned on a lot of mentors.
Yes.
I was leaning on one of them yesterday.
Yes.
Because the law is it's such a large area. You can't really master it within a short period of time. So you have to lean on the knowledge of other people. So I constantly lean on my mastermind group. It's
Mastermind group. That's great.
right. You said something earlier about being able to see it before you see it. I heard a story the other day about Walt Disney.
Yes.
And of course, he died before his vision was completed for us to see with Disney World and whatnot. So I think the story goes that during the groundbreaking ceremony, it was a man standing next to his wife, saying, I really wish Walt would have lived to see this.
Mm-hmm.
And her response was, "Oh, he saw it."
Exactly.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
right.
he had that vision prior to actually it coming to fruition. He saw it in his mind. So we have to see it before we see it. So you step out on faith and you start your own firm. I'm sure there were a lot of you had to motivate yourself with that, because I'm sure there were a lot of naysayers. And unfortunately, whenever you step out like that, people are like, "Oh, you sure you want to do that? You sure you want to do that?" What is it about you that knew that this was your time and you needed to just move forward?
Well, one of the things I've been able to do is I learned it very early on.
Mm-hmm.
You don't share your dreams with everyone.
Oh, that's powerful. That is so powerful.
You only share your dreams with people that are big enough to accomplish your dreams and push you towards them. My father was one of those people.
Yes.
Gregory Williams. He was a dream believer.
Mm-hmm.
He always push you to do whatever you set your, Dad, I think I'm gonna do this. I hear you, boy.
Jump right on board.
Yeah,
Right
go do it. And my mom as well.
Yes.
Dale Williams as well.
Yes.
They were behind me, but I've been able to kind of look within for motivation, look to the Lord, for which cometh my help and my strength. And I tell people what I've done or what I've already in the process of doing. I don't, because if you ask for permission to be great or to do great things, people aren't going to give you that permission, because most people can't see that.
Exactly.
They can't see beyond existing.
Yes.
So I just stepped out there. I had, one of my closest friends, attorney friends, James Rogers. He kind of pushed me. My pastor at the time, Apostle Johnny Holloway, he pushed me.
So you were really particular about who you shared your dream with.
Absolutely. And some of them, I didn't even share the dream with them. They planted this vision for me.
They saw something.
Like, you don't need to go work for anybody. You need to have your own firm. They didn't even know what was going on inside. That's what I wanted to do. So I think when you tap into that space, God puts the right people around you. And I was terrified.
I can imagine.
I'm a single dad. I'm trying to what am I, and literally one client, then the next client, then the next client. And then someone sent me some work. And then I was actually working a part-time legal job and doing the firm. And again, my buddy James was like, "Look, you need to cut the parachute, jump on in." So, all right, man. So I did it. Then it was, you need to come on and rent some office space.
Wow.
Like, man, I can't afford office space. Yeah, you can, man. Come on. You can do it. So it's important to have people around you that see in you what you see in yourself. Yes. And maybe they see more.
Exactly.
So you got to have people that can pull that out of you. And I was very fortunate, to have those people around me to help me kind of see that vision and steer me in the right path.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I was just sharing with Latoya, who was in the studio before we started filming, that Jamie approached me a couple times about doing Respus Live. And I was like, "You sure?" Talking, yeah. I love to talk to people that I love. It's
Right.
easy for me to be cordial, but as far as a dialogue, it's just my little small group of people. And he was like, "No, you can do this." And so he approached me a couple of times before I said, "Okay, let's sit down and talk about it. Let me see what you see."
Right.
So he was able to see something in me that I couldn't even see into myself. So now we're doing Respus Live and getting over 4,000 hits per.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is just crazy for me. We have 70 people watching at this time right now. I want you to share this video. Greg is going to give away. We always love to give away things. So tonight he's going to do. Actually, we're at 64 now. We're going to give away a will because we're going to talk about making sure we have our wills and planning estates and things of that nature. So if you'll go ahead and share the video because somebody may not have their will prepared, and we're going to start talking about that. But it's going to be a giveaway tonight, and so you'll have legal advice from an attorney on how to prepare your will because we have to start preparing because we will not live forever, and it's imperative that we have our house in order. It's imperative that we have uh, things in order for our family. So it's already a difficult time, but we want to make sure that we have things prepared, such as our will. So we'll give that away on tonight. So if you would share the video, and we'll take numbers as we always do, and we'll let Jamie decide the number toward the end of the video. But I did want you to give you the opportunity to share this, and for someone that may need one, and we want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to receive this. So we're going to go back to your story because it's so empowering, and then we'll start talking about your initiative for February. So you start your own business, your own law firm. You end up getting space because you understand that with faith there are no limits.
Right.
Now in our own abilities, there are plenty of. I'm limited in so many things when I use my own ability, but when I rely on faith, there are no limits to what He can do for us. And so you tapped into that, and you had people around you that were pushing you and letting you know, okay, this is what you were born to do, and you were made for this. You were created for this. So you get one client after the other client, and then you actually stop your part time because you need full time attention on your business, on your own firm.
Right.
That is huge. That is so. Do you understand how huge that is?
Yeah.
Because sometimes we don't understand how great we are. I struggle with that sometimes. But that's really huge for a young African American male to have their own law firm. And you didn't start off in a law firm. You started off with your own law firm.
Right.
You
right.
remind me of Tyler Perry. He's like, if they don't want you to sit at the table, you create your own table.
Right.
So
right.
you came out the gate with your own table.
Right. And I think that's the, my dad used to tell me all the time, it's a lot of room at the top.
Yes.
It's a lot of room at the top. The bottom is what's crowded.
Huh.
So if you think about that, in some of my struggles, I had some struggles,
Yes.
like between graduating from college, from college till, going to law school. There were some struggles. Like I really disappointed my parents for a while,
Okay.
because they were like, you have a degree. My dad was, worked at DuPont for 30 years. Like, I can get you a job at DuPont. And I was just like, nah, Dad, that's not, it's not what I'm here for.
Exactly.
My mom same way. I can get you a job at the Corps of Engineers. You can work for the government.
Right.
That's always the solution. And I was like, I can't. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I just know it's not that. And I don't want to, create a bad environment for you at, where you work because
Right.
I know that's not where my heart is. And it took me a while. So we're talking about no limits, but there also has to be a faith factor. And you have to embrace the struggle. I went through a lot of struggles to get where I am now.
Right.
Because I wasn't afraid to take those temporary hits. And a lot of times we chase being comfortable.
Yeah.
It's comfortable to go get a job here and create a living. But maybe you're called to create a lifestyle.
Wow.
Not just a living.
Mm-hmm.
So that was through those years of struggle.
Yeah.
It was major for me to read, to listen to. Well, we didn't have podcasts then, but back then they would take the motivational speeches and put them on cassettes.
Absolutely.
And CDs.
Yeah.
Listen to things like that, and that you are what you absorb. So if you listen to things about achieving and overcoming obstacles, and you stay with it, eventually you will. But if you sell your dream short, and go for comfort, that's where you're going to end up, and you won't live a fulfilled life.
That's good because I have a friend and he tells me all the time you can't grow where you're comfortable.
Right.
There's no growth in comfort. We grow when we're stretched.
Right.
And that's where our growth comes from. So I totally understand that, and it takes faith and it takes determination to step out, and because comfort, that's where we're secure.
Right.
I'm comfortable here. I don't have to worry about it because I've done this for so long. I just mastered. But stepping out on faith and starting your own farm, I'm sure there were obstacles, but you understood. You looked at the long term. And so many times we look at the short term and we think temporary is permanent,
Right.
and we make a decision based off of something temporary.
Right.
And then we never really reach our goals. So it is imperative that we understand there are no limits. And even in the midst of going through our journey called life, we'll end up with some trials and tribulations and things that happen, but we still have to stay focused. So let's talk about the incentive that you have and the other things that you have that you're a part of. Just share it with our audience, because it's probably somebody watching don't know you and don't understand some of the things that you offer, the foundation as well as your business. So let's go with that.
Well, two quick things.
Okay.
One, as we know, we lost Kobe Bryant a couple weeks ago, and that had a profound effect on our community.
It did.
I was not a Kobe guy, quote unquote. I was a Jordan guy.
Absolutely.
We're in Wilmington right now. This is home.
Yes.
Jordan was my guy.
Right.
Is my guy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a Jordan guy, you're not a Kobe guy. If you're a Kobe guy, you're probably not a LeBron guy.
Exactly.
So I always respected his attention to detail, his intensity, and his focus. But when I found out that his daughter perished with him, and they started kind of highlighting his work in being a father, his attention to detail, the intensity, the effort in being a father, I connected with him because that's the kind of father I was.
Yes.
And the pictures of him and his daughter that was very easily me and Jilly Baby.
Exactly.
So, and I was just in a funk for like a week behind that,
Yeah.
And then I thought about it. I was like, you know what? I need to do something with this.
Yes.
So I thought about all the men that have not been good dads or have not been present in their children's lives, but now they want to.
Absolutely.
They want to be a hashtag girl dad, or boy dad, or and in a lot of cases, I mean, I've helped friends who have been in situations where the mother of their children prevented them from being a part of their children's lives.
Absolutely.
Which is wrong. I mean, it just is. So I was able to work with them to make sure that they could be a part of their children's lives. This is Black History Month. I think Black fatherhood is probably one of the most essential ingredients to the success of society.
Absolutely.
Not just our community, but society as a whole. So I'm extending an offer out there for men that want to be real dads.
Yes.
This month, the month of February, if you want to, Black History Month, if you want to be a part of your children's lives, but you've been prevented from doing that, and you want to do the work of being a dad, I'm talking about homework, teacher work days, things of that nature.
Right.
You're really engaged. I'm here to advocate for you.
Yes.
So contact GRW Law if you want to be a part of your children's lives and you haven't been, or you know someone, you have a cousin or brother or uncle or what have you, and that's what they want, then have them contact me. The other thing we're looking at is Black wealth.
Yes.
You've mentioned several times creating a will or an estate plan. That's one of the easiest ways to protect what you've built a lifetime accumulating. Is the Bible says, write the vision on the tablets to make it plain.
That's what it says.
You want to leave a roadmap for the generations behind you to follow. There's a lot of times when parents or grandparents don't want to deal with the hassle of choosing a kid to leave this to, or putting someone in charge, or I'll just leave it to them and they'll figure it out. Well, that creates a mess.
It does.
Because now you have 3 to 5, maybe 6 kids who all own one house.
Yes.
Equally.
Yes.
And then one of them could force, so it's better to sit down, make a will, and create a plan. That way, your land isn't lost because someone didn't pay the taxes.
Right.
Or because, you have children in 5 different states. No one comes home.
Exactly.
And, you end up losing the land through something along those lines. Or, you leave a mess and your children are fighting each other.
True.
For spoons and knives. And,
yes.
I've seen it, in my practice.
Yeah, we've all seen that.
Scenarios where, 4 siblings couldn't decide how to handle a house, and the house had to be sold.
Yeah.
To pay for attorney's fees. And some of those things could be resolved just by sitting down and saying, this is my plan. This is what it is. This person's going to be in charge, or these 2 people are going to be in charge, and this property is going to this place, this property is going here. So it's essential. It's a very easy step to kind of start the process of protecting what you have. And a lot of people think, well, I don't have enough to have a will.
Yeah, I was going to mention that to you because I hear a lot of people say, well, I don't have anything to leave.
Right. Well, everybody has something, even if you just have a home,
yeah,
that's something that's going somewhere.
Absolutely. Vehicles, everything you have with your name on it is going somewhere.
Accounts. Yes. Right. So it's never, and you make it easier for the next generation.
Right.
You make it easier for your children when everything is laid out, or your grandchildren when everything is laid out. There's also powers of attorney, things of that nature. In a lot of instances where you have a married couple and they may have separate accounts.
Yes.
He may have his checking account. She has her checking account, savings account. No joint accounts. One of them passes away. They can't access that other account.
Yeah.
So maybe the mortgage comes from his account.
Right.
But her name isn't on the account. So now he passes away. She can't access those funds. When taking a couple simple steps on the front end could have prevented that type of thing. Where you have a widow that's cash strapped for 3 months or 6 months until the estate can be
settled, right?
Yeah, set up and settled and things of that nature. Or you have to wait 30 days to get letters of administration so that now you can access that account. Well, a lot can happen in 30 days.
Sure can.
What if you were behind?
Exactly.
When the individual passed away?
Yeah.
What if you were 2 months behind?
Exactly.
Now you may be in a foreclosure situation just because, some simple estate planning wasn't done. So those are some of the things that I can help, that I help my clients with, and that I want to help more of our community with.
Exactly.
To build and prosper and preserve what they've worked their lives for.
And that's so important. We talk about it all the time, about making sure that we leave an inheritance for our children. We want to make sure we leave them an inheritance and not a headache and a burden.
Right.
Because unfortunately, if you don't have as my grandma would say, ducks in a row, when, God forbid, when something happens, it becomes a headache and a hassle. And we've seen, all of us have seen families fall out over
$5.
Yes, $5 over houses and properties, and I've seen families just fall apart because there was no will,
right? And
they had to come together and settle the estate because it became heir property, and so this keeps a lot of confusion down when you have your will prepared, as well as just like with the bank accounts. I was speaking with someone the other day, and they was sharing with me that they had a spouse that passed, and there was no name on the account. And I really didn't think about it, but it's essential for us to think about every aspect, every dime we have. Is there someone's name? Because if not, they hold that until the estate is settled, and you may need that money immediately, as you stated. So we want to make sure that we have things in place. And I do have a question from Danielle she has a question about a will. If you have questions, you can put them in the comments and we'll get to them if we can. She says, if you made a will when your children were younger, should you revise it as they become adults? Do you think that you should revise your will as time progresses?
Well, it depends on, kind of depends on what your goals are. If your goals are the same as they were when your children were young, your will may be okay. But I would guess, depending on how much time has elapsed, some things could be different.
Exactly.
And also you have to watch the wording
Mm.
in your will. Let's say 10 years ago, you had a 2010 Toyota Camry, and your will says your 2010 Toyota Camry goes to, one of your children.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now you have a 2020 Escalade
Mm-hmm.
or Cadillac or BMW, what have you. Now it's not clear
Exactly.
who gets that car,
Mm-hmm.
because the will didn't say my vehicle goes to
Mm-hmm.
such and such. It says
A specific vehicle.
right,
Got
or
you.
sometimes a specific bank account is
That's good.
referenced in the will, or a
That's good.
specific investment account. Well, you may not have that investment account anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So in some instances, you may think you've done the planning, but it fails because, of
Specifics.
changes.
Yes.
So it's a good idea to have your will looked at
Mm-hmm.
as in conjunction with your assets, things you've accumulated.
Over time.
You may be on your third car since you made that,
Exactly.
or third account
Exactly.
since you made that bequest in the will.
Yeah, and your finance could change as well.
Right.
Different policies and 401ks and things, different investments.
Right, and
Mm-hmm.
different. You may have said, and Danielle, this could be for anyone,
Mm-hmm.
but you may have said it goes to my children equally.
Mm-hmm.
Well, circumstances may dictate that one child doesn't need what the other child needs.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of different things that can kind of happen over time to make it necessary to revamp your estate
So
plan.
do you think it should be like a yearly thing that you just go look at it the first part of the year just to make sure in case things change? Or
It could be. I mean, I'm going to give you a non-traditional attorney answer. Of course, an attorney would love for you to come in and review your will every year.
come on down to the office.
Right. But I don't think that's necessary. I don't think our lives change unless there's a life-changing event. But, every 5 years or so, 5 or 10 years, I think something like that. If something changes in your life, divorce, marriage,
Mm-hmm.
now, divorce is something that you really should trigger you to look at, okay, maybe I need to look at things. And if you divorce and remarry, definitely, because now you could potentially have, you're bringing two new households together.
Yes.
They may have their children, you may have your children.
That's a really good time to make sure your will is specific.
Now that can create a mess.
Yeah.
Because, now husband and wife come together, their property is joined as, and one could predecease the other one. And now the survivor's children,
Mm-hmm.
depending on how that person's estate is set up, the survivor's children could end up with everything, and the person that died first, their children may get nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's or much less than they would now the plan anticipated.
Exactly.
So it's any life-changing event is a trigger to kind of review your estate plan.
That is so true. And especially, I was thinking about divorce because you may have someone as your beneficiary on things. And if a divorce happened, you might want to change, change that.
You probably do. You probably want to make that change at that time.
Okay, great. Thank you. I won't open it. Jamie already has the number ready for us. So again, we're going to actually, Attorney Williams is going to actually give away or gift a will to one of our viewers on tonight, because it is essential that we have a will in place. And so if you're watching and you do not have a will in place, you want to make sure you drop your numbers down whenever we tell you to. Not at this moment, but we just want you to get prepared. And if you know someone that needs a will that didn't have one, you can share the video, share the live with them so that they'll be able to sign on and participate in this, because this is really great. I love the incentive that you have for the fathers, how you're willing to help them. That is really great. It is so important, especially in the African American community, for our dads to be a part of our lives. It makes a difference in so many different ways. So that is really great. So we do want to reiterate that if you're a father and you're trying to figure out how to step back in place and to help with your children, Attorney Williams has volunteered to assist you.
Not volunteered. Stepped up.
To assist you with that, and it's great because it's needed, and direction is needed. So I'm grateful that you that you are doing that for this month. And unfortunately, that was very unfortunate about Kobe Bryant and all the ones that were in the
Right,
aircraft as
right.
well. But it just reminds us that we
Life
never
is
know. We
precious.
need to make sure we have our business straight and our will in place. And so, again, if you're watching and you need legal advice, we do have his name of his business hashtagged in this is the law offices of Gregory Renard Williams. He is willing to assist you. So you can always contact him for any legal advice. And it's so good to have legal advice because at some point in life we need it.
Right. I mean, everything
Yeah.
in our lives
Yeah.
revolves around the law.
It does.
In some capacity,
Mhm.
everything we do.
Exactly.
We enter contracts
Yes.
daily,
Hmm.
cell phones, leases, buying a home, car accidents, things of that nature. I mean, things happen all the time that involve the law. And a lot of times we just aren't aware of what our rights are. Some fathers don't know that the mom just can't say, "Hey, I'm not going to let you see the kids,"
Exactly.
or "I don't like your new girlfriend, so
Hmm.
no, you're not going." They don't know that that's not right.
That's right.
That's not cool.
Yeah.
So, it makes, or if you're in an accident, a car
Yes.
accident,
Yes.
a lot of people don't know, well, there's damages available to you if you're injured in an accident through no fault of your own,
Yeah.
that you need to go get checked out. You need to go to the emergency room. You need to take pictures of your vehicle,
Hmm.
damage to your vehicle or damage to the other vehicle at the
Absolutely.
scene. You need to go immediately and or as soon as possible, get medical attention.
Absolutely.
And then that situation kind of plays itself out. And that other insurance company that contacts you, they're not your friend.
You got that right.
Like, they're not there to help you. They're there to offer you a quick, easy, low settlement
Hmm.
to get you to sign away your rights.
Exactly.
Again, you're signing away your rights. Now, in that situation, there are limits
Yeah.
because once you
You
sign
sign
it
that
away,
paper,
it's over.
Yeah.
Whereas you sign something because you got a couple $1,000,
Mhm.
and then 2 months after you get that check, your back starts hurting.
Exactly.
Or something pops up, and now it's too late. You can't reopen that door. So taking the time to reach out and get the assistance that you need. We protect the injured and counsel the unsure.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're injured or if you're unsure, reach out
Contact,
to us. And
So,
we will
is there
help
any
you.
particular area, or do you are you just for injuries or
We're personal injury,
personal injuries,
estate planning,
estate planning?
and civil litigation.
Okay.
Those are our three main focus areas. Some of that overlaps a little bit.
Yeah.
The civil litigation kind of covers all of it
Yeah.
to some degree. But those are the areas that we mainly focus on.
Well, that is good to know. So, again, if you're in need of an attorney, we have one here for you on tonight that'll be happy to assist you and get you the help that you need, because it is imperative that I'm not, some areas that I'm well versed in, and then there are areas that I'm not. So I believe in contacting people that I know and trust to help me in the areas that I'm not.
Right.
And law would be one. So if there was ever a time that I need an attorney, I would definitely want someone that was a reputable reputation and someone that we can trust. And so I recommend tonight to all the viewers the law offices of Gregory Renard Williams if you're in need of an attorney, because if you don't today, just save the name, because it may pop up at some point that you need someone to assist you.
Right.
And you want to make sure you have someone that has your best interest at hand. And unfortunately, that's not always the case. But we're glad to say tonight that it is the case with the law offices of Gregory Williams. Again, his name is attached to the video, so please just like his Facebook page, and you can follow him. And it has his address, his phone number, and he'll be more than happy to assist you any way he can. Jamie, how much time we got left?
You're good, but Andrew Cohen has a question.
Okay.
Do you see it?
Nope.
Hey, Greg, what if you have a will but never filed it with the courts?
Ooh.
Andrew, how's it going? Thank you for your response. The will is not required to be filed with the courts. Some people do that just for safekeeping.
Okay.
But you don't have to file the will with the court system. What's imperative is that at the time of your death, that there's a copy, an original copy of the will available.
Okay.
So you could actually put the will in the safe deposit box. You could leave it with whoever your executor is going to be, or someone you trust Once it's filed, it's public information, so anyone could go down to the clerk of court and read what's in your will. It does not have to be filed with the clerk of
Oh,
court.
that's good to know, because if you file it, then it becomes legal document. I mean, like public information, right?
Yeah, anybody can go down to the
And look at it
and look at it. You can still change it,
at
but
any time. Yeah.
but you don't have to file a will with the clerk of court.
That's good information. I have another question from Lizette. It said, are you available to cover Wilmington area and nearby areas? Is there like an area that you specifically cover, or you're open?
Well, like I said, my office is in Durham, but this is home.
Yes.
So I'm here for my people.
So if you're in the Wilmington area, this is home for Gregory. He is from Bolivia, North Carolina.
Bolivia.
Big city, Brunswick County. We like calling North Carolina home. So that was a good question, Andrew and Lizette. Thank you so much. Again, Gregory, he does personal injury, estate planning, and civil litigation. So if you have any areas in that that you need legal advice, trust me, this is the gentleman that you want to. And Tyrese says great information, and he salutes you, Greg. Thank you so much, Tyrese. You're welcome, Lizette. Thank you so much for watching. We thank each of you for signing on tonight. We're so grateful that you're listening, and the questions, we thank you for those as well, because it is imperative that we have our houses in order. And remember, there are no limits. So we're going to give away the will. So we have to pick a number between, Jamie,
I just posted it, 150.
1 through 50. Okay, so we have, it looks about like 45 to 50 people watching. So 1 through 50. 1 through 50. It is so funny. So, because Greg, sometimes somebody will put like 65. And I'm like, did we say 1 through 50? So we have 1 through 50, and we'll have one winner. And the number is already in here. Jamie wrote it. I have nothing to do with the drawings, because
Like
my
the
sisters,
Oscars, right?
listen, my sister gets upset with me. She was like, you didn't pick my number. I was like, I don't have anything to do with it. Jamie does that. So it keeps me out of trouble. Because my sisters be on it, they be wanting to win.
Oh, right. Kind of like those Cowboys.
Okay, no, you didn't go there. Okay, so Greg and I get along, except for during football season. He is a Panthers fan. And I can't believe y'all actually go to the games and wear that stuff.
Absolutely. That's what we do.
Yeah, I don't understand. After a while, like when the season is really bad, I would think that you would just retire that until next year. But no,
Wow.
you still walk around like you're
Wow.
proud of it. You guys have had a horrible season again.
You know what?
Yeah. And so Greg and I argue on Facebook all the time.
If the football season ended in November,
It didn't.
if you guys can play a Thanksgiving bowl game,
it didn't. It didn't. So next week, Jack is supposed to come on again, and we're supposed to have our jerseys. So it's going to be really interesting, because, we don't like each other at all during football season.
Jack holds it down.
He tries to with your help.
Keep pounding.
I don't understand why y'all still walk around with that stuff.
That's what we do.
They're talking about Panthers. I was like, y'all are kitty cats now. I mean, the Panther has died. Can we just bury the Panther and just go straight with kitty cats?
Is that right?
Yeah. So what we're doing is we're offering a star on tonight. If you
Did
want
you
to be
ever
a
watch
star.
Game of Thrones?
I have not.
There's a recurring theme in Game of Thrones. Jon Snow.
No.
Winter is coming.
Yes. Thank you, guys. I'm enjoying football chat with my cousin. We do it all the time on Facebook. We love each other, but football season, we're all about. I'm a Cowboys fan, in case you don't know.
Y'all don't even want to pay your quarterback. I mean,
Yeah, well, that's a whole different story. And unfortunately, my cousin, he's a Carolina Panthers fan.
keep pounding. What's the first name in that name?
But listen,
What's the first name in that
Carolina
name?
Panthers. But
Carolina.
listen, I've been a Cowboys fan ever since I was a little girl, because everybody in my family were Cowboy fans. Just because North Carolina all of a sudden pops up and get a football team, I'm not running over.
No limits.
Yeah, no limits to being a Dallas
You're
Cowboy
not
fan.
boxed
No
in
limits.
to being a
I
Cowboys
am
fan.
loyal to the end.
Just because other people made a bad decision.
Other people did not make a bad decision. So trust me, if you want to be a Cowboys fan, we'll take you over now, especially if you're a Panthers fan. We have 55 people watching currently. We're given a number between 1 and 50. And again, between 1 and 50, the number has already been selected by Jamie. This is a free will by attorney Greg Williams. It is truly a blessing to someone. If you do not have a will, and if you do or you don't, let's go ahead and drop a number down. We're judge free zone here.
Right,
This is a
judgment
judge
free zone.
Now is the time to get it right.
You are not alone if you don't have a will.
You're not alone if you don't. And if you need to revise it's the perfect time for that. And so, again, just continue to drop your numbers, and we'll give you just a few more minutes.
Pressing every number.
Who?
Danielle.
We thank all of you guys for signing on and participating every week. So thankful for you coming down, Greg, and to spend time with us. And again, it's the law offices of Gregory Renard Williams on Facebook. You can like his page. All his
Please like my
information is
page.
there. The address, the contact phone number, whatever you need is going to be on this page, and it's tagged in his video. So please go like his page now. And if you need an attorney, and we have listed in the comments the areas of expertise, then please feel free to contact him. You can tell him you saw him on Respus Live, so he'll know exactly where you saw him.
Hashtag Respus Live. You can actually go to my website
Yes.
and book an appointment.
Oh, great. Tell us about your website while we're waiting.
grw-law.com. Again, that's grw-law.com. You can go there. You can see, you can view the firm's practice areas. You can schedule an appointment. If you're out of the area, or out of my geographic area, we can have a virtual appointment by phone, or we can communicate via email. And then, like I said, I cover this area. Eventually, my goal is to have an office here.
Absolutely. It's no place like home.
Got to have an office
Yes.
here. So that's coming.
Yes.
Right now, we just have the presence down on 17, up on the right side down in Town Creek.
Love it.
And we're available. We're a phone call away or an email away. Or, like I said, you can visit the website and book an appointment and ask questions. If you have a question, even if it's not an area that I focus on or I practice in, like I said, I have a great mastermind group. I have resources that I can tap into.
That is so good to know.
For someone else that does specialize in that area.
Great. So again, I put his email, his website in the comments, so it's there for you. Oh, she says she can cover the office in Wilmington. This young lady named Lizette, whenever you're ready. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so
no limits.
There are no limits. So we have a winner per Jamie. The number is 23. I'm going to put that there because Jamie said Danielle won, and I didn't want any mess from anybody because Danielle's my girl, but I have nothing to do with that. So congratulations, Danielle Glaze. You are the winner for tonight.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Danielle. The number was 23. This is Jamie handwriting, not mine. I want to make sure that's clear. So congratulations to Pastor Danielle Glaze for winning on tonight. She has
Pastor Danielle.
Yeah, she's the pastor. So we're
Pastor Glaze, if you will visit grw-law.com, book an appointment, and in the comment section, select hashtag Respus Live.
Yes. And
I will contact you for details.
Thank you so much. And so again, it was so good to have you here. It's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. It is good to see you. It is refreshing to see an African-American male realizing and understanding that there are no limits. And you just took the brakes off of everything that was ever in your path and just propelled towards what you wanted to do in life. And we're super proud of you and what you're doing. And I am praying that God will continue to open supernatural doors in your life. He said, and I just got to get a little bit of preaching tonight, that he would open up the windows of heaven and pour you out blessings that you don't have room enough to receive. So I speak overflow over your life in every area. Amen. And again, we're so proud of you. Thank you so much for coming. And
thank you for having me.
And there may be someone watching that has dreams and goals, and it may not be going the way you want it to, but you remember this story from attorney Greg Williams. It started off one way, but it didn't end that way. He started off selling insurance, and he kept doing things until his destiny finally reached his goals, and now he has his own office. I love the fact that you came out the gate with your own stuff. I love it. It is so amazing.
Reverend Leo Stevenson.
Yes.
God rest his soul.
Yes.
One of his sermons, he was talking about Hezekiah.
Yes.
And he said, as long as there's breath, there's hope.
That's hope. That is so true. So again, as long as there's breath, there's hope. Lavinia Cox says she's proud of you, cousin. So we're glad to have Brunswick County looking tonight. Sheena Hewitt also says she was proud that you were cousin. So we're so glad to have the support from Brunswick County watching us tonight, watching your cousin. We are so super proud of you, Greg, in Brunswick County. And we're glad that you're doing great things and big things. And so, again, there are no limits. Where there is faith, there's no limits. Don't you allow someone to put you in a box. Don't you allow them to put limits on you, because we serve a limitless God. There are no limits when it comes to God. There are no limits. So, again, thank you so much for joining us. And we want to give a shout out to our to music by A&A Promotion. And I always want to shout out my makeup artist, Beauty by Drea. I appreciate the fact I go every Monday and get my face beat. Because I remember you got an ABC, you got to always be as cute as you can. So, I try to keep everything together. So I go by Drea's, and she takes good care of me.
Well, you
So,
got good genes. Good genes.
and I'm glad of that. I'm grateful for that. I was telling Gregory before we started us, I'll be 50 this year, and I'm grateful. I feel good, and I don't feel nowhere near 50, however that feels.
No limits.
There are no limits. There are no limits. So again, Alfred Bellamy says that you were his nephew. So thank you, Alfred Bellamy, for watching on tonight. Thank you so much. Tasha Warren, representing Bolivia.
Tasha.
So, yes, and
What's going
Bernice
on?
and
MC Light.
yeah, and Bernice Hewitt is super happy as well. So
How you doing, Miss Hewitt?
Greg is like, thank you all for signing on and
It's a
supporting
family
him.
reunion.
Yes,
I
we
love
are
it.
family.
I love it.
So again, thank you so much for watching. Danielle Glaze, congratulations on winning tonight the free will consultation with Attorney Williams. And again, you guys be blessed, and may God's peace be with you until we meet again. We're out. Blessings to each of you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. This was awesome. I'm so proud of you.
I'm so proud of you.